Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Absolutely Not podcast. I'm your host, Heather McMahan. How are you? Hope you're having a great week. It's Wednesday. This is when you listen to me. So hopefully you're right in the thick of the week, but you feel good. You feel positive. You're not feeling anxious. I got to be honest with you right out the gate. I'm feeling a little anxious. I'm excited. And they say when you have anxiety, you should reframe it in your brain. Like, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. I am excited because I'm flying to London and I'm going to go see Taylor Swift. Haven't seen the Eras tour. I said, listen, it's fucking cheaper to fly over to the UK, stay at a 5-star hotel and get front row seats to Miss Swift than it is to fly to Indianapolis, stay at a Holiday Inn by the airport and be in the nosebleeds. So I'm going to the UK, going with my buddy Hayden and Jared, and we're going to have fun. Is this the time to pick up your life right now and for 4 days, hop across the pond to go see a concert? It's not. We're back in work mode. School's in session. Shit's popping off. But I'm going to go have a little fun. And I always seem to get my best material when I go across the pond. But why would you be feeling anxious, Heather? Well, I am flying the exact same flight on Virgin from JFK to London that I had an ovary explode. And if you've never listened to the famous episode of this podcast called Ovaries on a Plane, go back to end of October, early November 2019. Just Google Ovaries on a Plane. My episode will come up. And, for those of y'all who've been listening to this podcast for a really long time, you're dialed in. But let me tell you what happened. Long story short, I was flying across the pond. I was alone. I had an ovarian torsion, which means my ovary flipped upside down and a cyst ruptured at the same time. The pain is the equivalent to childbirth, your appendix rupturing, the worst part of the kidney stone where the stone has the spikes on it and it's just gripping the side of your urethra. That is where you're at. They were surprised that I made it through. So I currently don't have a seat on this flight right now. And me, listen, I travel enough. My one thing that I invest in is I'm a first class girly. I use my global upgrades. I use my points, whatever. That's where I don't fuck around. Okay. Because I usually got to fly somewhere and then get off the plane and go right to work. So anyways, the first class seats were like $8,000 one way. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing it. I'm in premium select. Great. It's fine. It's a 7-hour flight. I'll wear my compression socks. I'll watch Love Island. Bada bing, bada boom. But I don't have a seat right now. And I see that they have the 21st row blocked off. And I sat in 21B. All right. So it's the row right behind first class. And I just have this weird feeling. I had a dream last night and I kind of woke up in a hot sweat. And I have a feeling I'm going to be in the same seat. I'm going to be in the same seat that this medical emergency went down. And, I think they say when it comes to dealing with PTSD or trauma from something that you go back through it. You go back to that scary place. You go back to the scene of the crime or the accident. And you have a positive experience there, which then readjusts your brain and your memory to not just always be thinking that, this seat 21B is the place where shit went down and I projectile vomited and the guy next to me was on gummies and he had no idea how to help me. And I had to crawl on my hands and knees to go find somebody who worked on this flight in a galley and then profusely apologize for 2 hours while they put me on oxygen. You know what I mean? So those are the memories that are coming to my mind. But I just have this weird feeling I'm going to be back in that seat. And I also feel very anxious getting on a flight, going international, and not being able to pick my seat right now, which stresses me the fuck out. But either way, sometimes you got to go through it. Listen, a lot in stand-up comedy, if you have a bad set, you still got to get up the next night in the club and you got to figure it the fuck out. So I do think comedians are a little resilient to showing up to the scene of the crime because this is what we do day after fucking day. But I definitely was having some night terrors about being back in that seat. But it's fine. You know what I mean? It's fine. We're gonna work through it. We're gonna push through it. I'm a big gal. I can handle it. I am excited to see the Taylor Swift concert, and I just want to, as an entertainer, I want to see it. Do I know every Taylor Swift lyric? I don't, but I had promised myself after my husband greatly disappointed me by not somehow securing tickets for us our last night in Australia. I am So I'm just like, I got to see it. I want to see the production quality. I want to see her performance. I want to sing along with all the Swifties. I've never been to Wembley. Like, I think it's going to be fucking cool. But I just know I'm hitting the ground running. I'm going to have to pack some emergency, some hydration sticks. I like really am trying to reframe my mind tomorrow to have a really long travel day. And to be back on that Atlantic flight. And if you've ever flown Virgin Atlantic, their staff is incredible. Their crew, the flight attendants, everyone was just lovely. And they really saved my life, literally. But I feel like I need to be back in that seat. You know what I mean? 21B, baby. 21B. What else is going on? I feel bad for the fans in Vienna who were unable, I don't know if you saw this, but Taylor Swift had to cancel 3 shows, all of her shows that she was going to do in Vienna because of, listen, they found out the terrorists were trying to do something. And I can only imagine as an artist, like obviously you're devastated. You've flown all the way over there. All this shit's happening. And then you find out this shit, like, it's scary trying to be responsible for everyone's safety. And you're doing the best you can. That's got to be scary for her. Pray for our safety in London. Hopefully they've got that shit on lock. But it is wild. It's scary. It's a scary time. But I feel bad if you flew all the way over there. I know a lot of people who did and they were unable to see her. So, I'll see you. I'll see you in the UK. I'll see you in London. Cheerio, bitches. So anyways, so I'm feeling a little anxious about. Listen, last week on the podcast, I was saying like I was looking for a win. God was closing one door. He was opening another. I was jumping out a window, trying to be a motivational speaker, but also not believing my own bullshit. And damn it if we didn't have a good Friday. I'm working on a new project, and we basically, Jen and I, who write television and film together, we got together. She directed my specials. We just said, let's just try something new. And, we're still not across the finish line. There's still a million different steps. But when somebody tells me I can't do something, that is when I literally go, suck my dick, roll up my sleeves, and I'm going to prove to you that I can do it. It's never worked with weight loss. I don't know why. Somebody said something mean about me, about my physical appearance on the internet. I don't know why. I'm like, oh, whatever. Like that rolls off my shoulders. But when it comes to work or career stuff, or if somebody's like, you can't book this, I'm like, try me, bitch. Or that's not, we don't want it. I'm like, I'm going to force you to like me. Okay. But, it was a real testament to, we went into this pitch on Friday kind of blindly, and we were like, let's just fucking go. We know what we're doing. And we had some really great feedback. So I don't want to say anything more because I don't want to jinx anything, but please, dear God, for the love of God, please help this one. 3rd time's a charm. Help this go through. But I don't know who needs to hear this. If you're getting a no, like I said last week, a yes is around the corner. Rejection's protection. And think about it when it comes to sex. The ex doesn't call you back. He's not picking up the phone. And that's protection because, that dick's dirty. Anywho. So if you're a Swiftie and you're going to be at the shows, come find me. I'm going to be in the front. I'm doing the damn thing. I'll be in some sort of glitter outfit. I'll tell you what. Miss Swift has kind of copied my look. I've been wearing these glitter suits, glitter skirts, the whole thing, the glitter boots on tour for the last 4 years. And I just feel like somebody in her camp pinged it and said, look what Heather's doing. Bitch stole my look. Well, guess what? I've got an arsenal. I have an actual, the movie Clueless, when Cher Horowitz goes to her closet and it rotates like a dry cleaning closet? That's what I want. But I have that with just tour suits. So you bet your ass I'm wearing something fucking fabulous to this show. I'm not bringing friendship bracelets. I don't want to be friends with any of you cunts after this, but I'm going to go enjoy myself. Maybe if you buy me a white wine, I'll accept friendship bracelets. But if you think I have time to do knickknacks before the show, I do not. All right? Full-time working mother over here of 2 French bulldogs. Pump the fucking brakes. If you want to bring me an Adderall and a white wine and maybe a corn dog, that to me is an even exchange. And again, I'm giving you nothing in return except the fact that I'm a great fucking time. And whoever's in my section is going to have a blast with me. Okay? I'll take photos for you. I'll help you shoot the TikToks. I'm just here for the camaraderie. And I need my spirit to be filled with joy. So I'm saying yes to the things that I probably know I shouldn't add to my plate, but I'm doing it anyway. So fuck it. What else is going on? Oh, y'all, this is some bullshit. I read this article. It popped up in my news, and I was seeing it on TikTok. So apparently the lady who invented Hello Kitty, the character, the Sanrio surprise Hello Kitty, we all know this, right? You grew up, you go to the Hello Kitty store, the Sanrio store, you get your knickknacks. I was more of a Bats Maru kind of gal. I loved Bats Maru. I had a lunchbox that had Bats Maru on it. And let me just, I know we've discussed this, Maru. Bats Maru is a black penguin. Okay, I loved Bats Maru. Although I thought it was a bat. No, it's a penguin. Yep, I'm confirming. It's a penguin. So that was me. I never went for the pink stuff. I always went for the stuff that was a little bit edgier. Describes me a lot as a kid. Turns out the lady who invented Hello Kitty said she is not actually a kitty cat, but she's actually a little girl born and raised in the suburbs of London. And to that I say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That's not accurate. Hello Kitty is a tiny little white cat from Tokyo. You know it. I know it. Don't fuck with that core memory. You don't get to just come out 30 years later and then tell us that we got it wrong. How in the fuck is Hello Kitty a little girl from the suburbs of London? Is she eating fish and chips? Is she eating pie mash? Is her dad an alcoholic and he's down the street at a local pub? After he gets off his job being a union carpenter? No, I imagine Hello Kitty lived in a very perfectly feng shuied house somewhere in Tokyo and loves ramen. Do not fuck with that. She is not a little girl from London, and I rebuke it. This girl's got a lot of fucking balls. I don't even know. Let's see. Yeah. See, everybody on Twitter saying, or X, excuse me, it's not Twitter. I can't fucking keep up. Everyone's saying, isn't Hello Kitty Japanese? And no, this lady said she is a little girl from London. My ass is, I'm about to be a little girl in London. And if anybody comes up to me and says, Hello Kitty is from here, I'm going to say, get the fuck out of here. Some bullshit. I also saw something that Goofy is apparently not a dog. They haven't said what he is, but he's not a dog. Y'all are out of your fucking minds. Lock it the fuck up. Also, speaking of locking it up, y'all, watching Tom Cruise at the closing ceremony games. The closing ceremony games. It's not a game. The closing ceremony. He tried to pull one of his, Mission Impossible stunts. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, honey, Lady Gaga did that exact stunt a couple years ago at the Super Bowl. So he's connected to a zip line, if you will, or like parachutes in. No, he's connected to a line. And he jumps off the top of the stadium in Paris during the closing ceremonies. And he had this like little lever, right? So he's just like going on down, hits the ground, gets on a motorcycle, rides through the crowd of athletes with the Olympic flag on the back of this motorcycle. And you're like, I was just yelling, what a douche. What a douche. And listen, I love Top Gun, one of my favorite movies of all time. I thought the remake was incredible. The Mission Impossible movies, also incredible. But there are, and I have to tread lightly with this because he could technically blackball me from the industry forever. But there are moments where you're like, are we just never going to address the Scientology of it all? We're just never going to touch on it. We're never going to touch on anything. Poor Leah Remini out here is just fighting the good fight, fighting for her fucking life, trying to bring justice to people who got sucked into this cult. And we got Tom Cruise just ziplining down. Like, is he necessarily a great representation of bringing the world together? No, I'm sure he's a stunt guy. He always does his own stunts, which is very impressive. But as soon as he started ascending down into this stadium, I was just like, going clear, HBO documentary, everybody tune in. If you've never seen it, you got to see it. It's fucking crazy. So you can't sit here and say that all these other things that happen in the opening ceremonies and the closing ceremonies, they had all these like figureheads, and there's so many conspiracy theories about everything. But to which I'm like, everybody, open a history book, get the facts. But then when I saw Tom's in a leather jacket, just like Spider-Man coming down, I said, listen, the only conspiracy theory I'll agree to is that maybe they're trying to push the old Sea Org on us, So anyways, what else is ridiculous? Oh, if you saw this Aussie breakdancer, good for her. At first I was like, this is absolute bullshit, but also gave me a little hope. I'm dead ass serious. I don't know what I can do to participate for the Olympic Games in LA in 2028, but I'm putting it on the vision board. I want to be there. I mean, would I love to be a correspondent and bring you great hysterical commentary and go watch the sports and give my 2 cents? I would love to. I'd love to be a permanent figure with NBC there. So adding that to the vision board, but man, when I saw that breakdancing, I said, I could maybe do it. I mean, she didn't give a fuck. And I know she did. And I've seen some interviews with her. Apparently she teaches breakdancing at a college in Australia. But man, she came out, she did her thing, and also breakdancing, while technical, up to artistic interpretation. Level of difficulty she provided, this Aussie breakdancer, was maybe a 4. But to me, artistically, that's 10 out of 10. Oh, God. And now she's wildly famous. And Australia is so proud of her. So good for her. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google Aussie breakdancer. I mean, she came out, was doing a bunny hop, couldn't even really spin around on her head, but just figured it the fuck out. She should get a gold medal for just fucking faking it till you make it. And guess what? She can get the Olympic rings tattooed somewhere on her ankle to show off while she's hanging out at Bondi Beach because she's an Olympian. I just love to be an Olympian. I'm not great at anything, athletic like that, but there's got to be something. I said it last week. I think I'm physically only built for weightlifting, rugby, and, maybe I could do like badminton. You got to be light on your toes. I'm quick. But man, I really, really, really want to be at that Olympics in LA in 2028. That's going to be fucking cool. All right, so what else have we discussed? I mean, we got a lot going on. Everyone's back to school. All my mom friends are calling me in the middle of the day. Just, you can hear the joy and the glee in their voices. Like, the kids are out of the fucking house. They're just speedballing in a TJ Maxx at 2 o'clock on a Thursday because they can. And I'm happy. I'm happy for the moms whose kids have gone back to school. You feel like you can, catch your breath. You don't have to go into the pantry and shove a bag of flour over your face and scream into it just to have a moment to yourself. So, and to the ladies whose kids are just doing the mom day out, right? If you have a small child and you drop them off at 8 and have to pick them up at 8:15, I just want you to know I still feel for you. Some of these Mother's Day out, preschool situationships, if you will, it's really bullshit. I mean, it's like a 45-minute window. Literally, my girlfriends will call me on the way, dropping the kid off at the church for Mother's Day out, and then 35 minutes later, picking the kid up for Mother's Day out. How is that a mom's day out if she can't get fucked up at the St. Regis and do a 3-hour spa? That's not a Mother's Day out. That's a mother's trip to the bank and back. I don't know, y'all. I think some of y'all are getting bamboozled with that childcare, with that Mother's Day out. It's not a full day. It's not even a half day. It's not even a quarter of a day. You got 45 minutes to honestly just take a shit and come back. So feeling for y'all. Really feeling for y'all. I know we have a ton of voicemails that I definitely want to get into. I had to just tell you out the gate, I'm coming in with strong energy today. I'm pissed about Goofy. I'm pissed about this Hello Kitty of it all. I'm pissed that Tom Cruise is trying to just pull some bullshit on us. I mean, I guess I'm happy. I'm happy for the Aussie breakdancer. I feel a sense of hope for myself that I could be at the games. But definitely, it's like the highs and lows. It's like we're getting good news, then we're getting bad news. Then we're here, then we're there. Then we're here. Like, I just need a steady week of just good, just positivity, And that's why I think I feel a little anxious. I'm like, okay, well, all right, we got a little good news, but we need it to be solidified. So we need this to happen. And I need some things that are solidified. But you know what? Let's go through our gratitude. What can we say that is a solid truth in our life right now? Because I'm acting like a brat. I love my dogs. I love my family. I love my friends. I love air conditioning. I had a great chicken piccata for lunch that I had left over from the Chastain last night, which is one of my favorite restaurants in Atlanta. I love fake eyelashes. I put on a little strip to shoot this podcast. I love fiber. Fiber's fantastic. When you don't have to, worry about shitting or not shitting, that is so nice. I love pistachio cream. I brought some back from Italy, and I've been putting that on a nice fermented sourdough toast in the morning. I love my Audi Q5. Just going through a list of materialistic things and food items that I love. I love iced tea. Refreshing. I love an iced coffee. Life is good. I really have no room to complain. I'm just in my feels, But I tell you, write it down. I write down all my shit. But the other night I was feeling a little stressed out, and I just got on my journal and I said, okay, let's write it down. What are we grateful for? Let's check that off. And also remember, write down the worries before you go to bed. Dump it all out into a little journal and then leave it. So it's out of your subconscious. And it's just there. And the next morning, you can still pick it back up and look at the bullshit, but you just got to write it the fuck down. All right, let's get to the voicemails, because I don't know what the fuck I'm even talking about anymore. I swear to God. I mean, it's like we're just spinning. We're just spinning over here. As always, you can call into the hotline, 800-213-7503. But let's get into the voicemails right now.
Heather, this is Lauren from Atlanta, so your own backyard girl, and I have an absolutely not for you.
Okay, Lauren.
Absolutely not. My husband and I taking a trip to Portugal and thinking, you know what? Let's do when in Rome. Let's do what the Romans do.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a soccer game.
Great.
We buy our tickets on StubHub. We show up, and we end up locked in the basement of said soccer arena because apparently StubHub is illegal in Europe. That's right, friends. Don't do it. So we spent the entire game in the basement of the arena with the police, with guns and handcuffs and all the whole 9 yards, trying to talk our way out of the fact that we were innocent Americans that had no idea what was going on. Absolutely not. Absolutely yes to traveling to Europe with your husband, but don't do the StubHubs. Love you. Bye.
Okay, Lauren, I'm so glad you made it out of being Locked Up Abroad, which was one of my favorite shows on CNN. Wow. Well, here's the thing. That's why people kept giving me shit about not being able to get Taylor Swift tickets when I was in Australia. But I was like, you don't understand. There is no secondary market. Like, Craigslist is illegal. StubHub is illegal. There's no reselling. The only way you can resell is if you, your next door neighbor physically hands you the tickets and you exchange cash. There is no secondary market because that way they don't have people, who poach all the tickets and then jack up the prices. That happens all the time. That happens at my fucking shows. And I'm not even that important. Somebody will buy the front row and then they'll put it on StubHub and jack up the price. That's why I always say only buy tickets to shit through the main source of ticket holding. You know what I mean? Through the website. I had a woman one time say she got scammed at a $10,000 on Craigslist buying tickets to my show in Nashville. And I was like, I didn't tell you to do that. What do you want me to do? I'm so sorry, but for $10,000, bitch, you could have cut me a check and I would have taken you to the Turks and Caicos. Fuck going to the show and sitting front row. If you cut me a check tomorrow for $10,000, I would literally I'd let you breastfeed. I'd let you suckle on the teat. I've done a lot worse for a lot less. I do Jeff Lewis's Sirius XM show sometimes in LA, and he always does these dinners. He does them like a couple times a month. Somebody will pay him 10 grand and he just goes to dinner with fans. And I said, Jeff, I do these all the time for charity. But the charity right now should probably be Heather McMahan Incorporated. I just did a great charity dinner the other night at Storico Fresco with the best girls. Shout out to Janie and her whole crew. They were Tallahassee Hussies. They were so much fun. And they just, God, it was so nice to have like a girls' night out. And even though, they're my new girlfriends, of course, we're already in a group chat. I love these gals. And I'll give my personal number to basically anybody. But it was so much fun hanging out with these gals. And I love doing these charity dinners. It's great. Remember, my hobby's restaurants, so it can't hurt. We're all eating, we're drinking, we're spritzing, we're having a little cacio e pepe. It's beautiful. It goes to a great cause. I do these all the time. But anyways, I'd love just for somebody to hand me the 10 grand myself. I'll pimp myself out. You want to go to an awkward lunch and steal a lock of my hair so you have my DNA? I don't care what you do with it. Am I getting $10,000 cash? Fantastic. But wait, let's get back to you, Lauren. I'm sorry, I made this about me, per usual. Okay, you got locked up in a Portuguese soccer stadium. And here's the thing. If you go abroad, Italian, Spanish, they're all kind of very similar languages. Like, you can get around. You can get by. Portuguese, that's a whole nother situation. I ended up on Portuguese TikTok one day, and I said, this is very, very hard to differentiate. I do know you say good morning, bom dia. So hello to all my Portuguese fans. That's got to be hard, though. Portuguese is a tough language to try and decipher. And you didn't know? I'd love more details, Lauren. Did anybody get cavity searched? Here's the thing, though. If you go over to anywhere in Europe, a lot of these cops are hot. So I don't know if this was also maybe a touch of a sexual experience, too. I'm sure you were scared, but a lot of these cops in Europe are very good looking. And I don't know. I didn't buy the tickets for Taylor Swift. I got to text Jared after this and say, are we going to get locked up at Wembley? I don't know. And in some places I was seeing that you have to, like if it's a resale ticket, you have to have the original ID of the person who bought it first, or, because they're unable to like add your name to the account. I don't fucking know. All I know is if I get all the way over there and I can't get in, there's going to be a situation. Okay, nobody post that because I'm not threatening anything. All right, I'm just happy to be there. That was not a threat. That was not a threat by any means. Taylor's dealing with enough right now. I will be very sad, and I will go to a local pub and have about 65 fucking Guinnesses. Dude, being locked up. They always say you can tell if a relationship's going to be strong if you can travel together and how you do traveling. Because, listen, hilarity ensues. Shit happens. So I know my husband's the right one for me because we travel really well together. But getting locked up? Going to the slammer together, that is a whole nother level of will we survive this? I did a great interview with a lovely gal from the UK, actually, from a UK publication. And she called, we were Zooming, and she said, Heather, I called in the hotline during COVID because I walked out of my house one day when I saw my husband eating greasy Chinese food. And I said, if you don't quit eating with your hands like that, I will divorce you. She's like, I didn't want to divorce him. I had just hit my threshold of disgusting things I could watch this grown man do in the privacy of our own home. We all were just absolutely teetering on just full-blown panic attacks about May of 2020. We were in the thick of lockdown, not knowing what was going on. And this lovely gal who's interviewing me, she was just like, I called in because you were my only saving grace. I thought I was going to kill my husband. She said, I called my mom. I hysterically started crying. And then I went on a walk and listened to your podcast. And that's why I'm still with my husband because I calmed her down. But being locked up, like God, knock on wood, I hope I'm never in this situation with Jeff. But Jeff would run his mouth. I know my husband. I'd be the one trying to be like, listen, I'm about to whip a titty out. Let me flirt. I'm going to figure out how to get us out of here. I'm not going to be combative. I'm going to flirt. I'm going to hand job our way to freedom. But Jeff, I get nervous if I don't think we've ever been pulled over together, but Jeff would be oh, fuck this. Okay, all right, buddy. Yeah, okay. Like that, running his fucking mouth. When sometimes you got to shut the fuck up and flirt a little. There are moments in life to stand up for yourself, but there are other moments where you just need to flirt a little. I'd love more information, Lauren. I don't know how y'all got released. There's a gal right now on TikTok who there's just this soundbite of her saying, when you go to work, your makeup should be very demure, very cutesy, very mindful. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. But all you need to know is I have reposted some of these videos. It's a very funny, just like catchphrase that's going around right now. But sometimes in life, you do need to be a little demure. You don't need to be so hot-headed. You need to come in and be a little mindful, be a little cutesy. They say in the South, you get more bees with honey than with vinegar. I'm just saying. And then there are other times where you need to go full stroke, like, medical emergency, and act like you have no idea what's going on. Just hit the fucking deck. Hit the deck. Because at least if you, get put in an ambulance, you're going to get some drugs on the way. What am I saying? I don't fucking know. I can't believe you got locked up raw in Portugal. And here you were trying to support their economy, watch soccer, which shout out to our U.S. women's team who won gold. I was screaming that entire match. I'm so happy for them. But going over and watching like a European men's soccer game, that's like a 7-hour commitment. That's intense. So you should have said, hey, we're here for the party. Please get me out of handcuffs. Because if you get me out of the handcuffs, I can give you a hand job easier. I just imagine being locked up with Jeff, and it would not be good. He would get us in so much more trouble for running his mouth, and I would be just sitting there. I'd be sitting there with my hands behind my back going, Jeff, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Let me handle this. Quit mumbling under your breath. You have you don't speak fucking Portuguese. I know how to say bom dia, so let me fucking figure this out. Hi, Officer Bom dia. Lo siento. Mi Portuguese say is muy malo. That was Spanish. Okay, Jeff, shut the fuck up. I know Jeff. When it comes to authority, Jeff's like, okay, oh yeah, buddy. Okay, all right, okay. And that's why the relationship works. There always has to be in a relationship, there always has to be somebody who's out of their fucking mind and a little bit more level-headed. And let me tell you how that also flips. I'm out of my fucking mind with what I do for a career, how I act day to day. I'm just a fucking nutter butter. Like, I'm out of my fucking mind, but I'm very clear-headed and like stable in like emergency situations. Jeff is very level-headed day to day, finance, real estate. Like, he is very organized. Nothing really rattles him. But in a situation, he's popping the fuck off. So we're a good yin and yang to each other. But you know what I don't ever want to be? Locked up raw with Jeff Daniels. Because I'll tell you right now, I would look at him and go, we're done here. Call your mother. Let her know. Because I'm not. I meant for, his mom to come get him, not, Just like, what am I doing? I'm sorry, guys. I feel so much pressure right now. I'm hot. I got to take this off. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I'm back. Okay. I'm back. I'm fucking back. I got an iced coffee. Give me a second. It's from this place down the fucking street. They have a bad attitude. They only have 2 options for milk. I can't fucking stand these people, but I'm back. I'm having one. It's absolutely tastes like Worcestershire sauce. It tastes like Worcestershire. And not in the good way like I'm marinating a steak. It tastes like I took a bunch of Worcestershire and put it in a cup with a splash of oat milk that will absolutely make me shit myself unless it's gluten-free. This is fucking terrible. I'm pissed. I'm back to pissed. I am actually getting angry thinking about a future scenario where Jeff and I have to be in a jail cell together. I'd kill him. I'd be like, honestly, go ahead and put me away for murder because I need y'all to look the other way because that's what's about to happen. Jeff, great in so many situations, but I know if something happened, we ended up in a StubHub prison because we bought our tickets and we didn't know it was illegal. Jeff would be popping off at the mouth. And I'd be over here cracking my knuckles, popping my knuckles, ready to give 65 hand jobs for my life. This was mine, right? Yeah. Okay, thanks. I was like, I grabbed it because I was like hot and I was like, oh fuck, I don't know if it was Tina's. No. Thank you. All right. Let's see what we got. Let's see what the next voicemail is. Lauren, thank you for calling in, and I'm glad you made it out alive. You're free.
Hey, Heather. It's Haley from Nashville.
Hi, Haley.
I recently was in a relationship with someone for like 8 months, and I got cheated on, and it's with the girl he cheated on me with now. So, of course, I got blocked on everything, which fine that he did that, or else I would have had to do the blocking. But then 2 nights ago, I got a message from his dog's Instagram account. The dog's Instagram account, the dog's name is Kahlua, and it said, "Are you currently seeing anyone?" I don't know, Kahlua, who's asking? But, I mean, you got to go to some desperate measures if you are sending me messages from the dog's account. And if it is Kahlua, please blink twice if you need help, if you need me to come rescue you. Okay, thank you. Bye, Heather.
Wait, first of all, you named your dog Kahlua. This guy's already an asshole. And that's no hate, no shade to the dog because the dog didn't ask for it. Now, I know what you're saying. Heather, turn the mirror around. Look at yourself in the mirror. You named your dogs macaroni and rigatoni. Everybody loves pasta. Kahlua is it is delicious, but I got drunk for the first time on a White Russian when I was like 16, and I've never been the same. It's one thing to name your pets after food, but to name them after alcohol, what if they're sober? Kahlua, Smirnoff, Grey Goose, get the fuck out of here. Unbelievable. All right, let's break this down. So I want to get this straight. You get cheated on. You get blocked. And this fucker thinks he's going to be demure, cutesy, mindful, and DM you, lure you back in through a member of the canine community. He knows he thinks you're going to open this and be like, "Hey, Kahlua, oh, stop. How's your piece of shit dad?" Like, I know that this guy thinks that's how the conversation's going to go down. He's like, if I message her through the dog's account, it's going to soften the blow. Because you can't fucking be mean to a dog through DM. Or I'll fucking report you, bitch. I have no words. I have no fucking words. The audacity of these men. DMing you after he cheated on you through his dog's account. Kahlua is not doing your dirty work, sir. And I would imagine Kahlua is probably a Shiba Inu. I can picture it now. He's a cute Shiba Inu that lives in Nashville in an environment that is far too hot for a Shiba Inu. Kahlua is probably on the rooftop deck of this apartment somewhere down in the Gulch, smoking a cigarette while his degenerate dad's like, "I need you to get out of the apartment for a little bit. I got a new hoe coming over to fuck." I feel bad for Kahlua. I'm with you. Blink twice, Kahlua, if you need us to rescue you. The fucking audacity. I saw this great TikTok the other day. This woman was like, "Okay, if you could make anything illegal, what would you make?" And she's like, "Men cheating." And she said it so fast, and this gal was laughing to herself. She's like, because women, yes, women can do it. Don't get me wrong. We are not innocent. But it is less in our genetic makeup. Like, usually when we're locked in, we're locked in. It's like with lesbians. You know, the old saying, what do you bring on the first date when you're a lesbian? A U-Haul. We're ready to nest, commitment, stay home, be with our person. But men always got to, you always got to be looking around, looking for a new set of tits, a little ass. I told you, I'm done. I'm exhausted. Yeah, did the Italian water polo team really set my tits ablaze? Yes, but I watched from afar at a very mindful and demure, respectful manner, respectful distance. I jerked off in the privacy of my own home. Did I show up to the water polo match? Did I book a first-class ticket to get to Paris and be on the front row and Google and oogle at these gorgeous men? I did not, because I'm demure. Okay? I mean, you get one horny guy. You get one horny guy to see a chick that he thinks hot, and he's like, I'm at your fucking tennis match. I'm front row. Notice me. My name's Tyler. You're like, chill the fuck out. These guys, man, they get away with a lot. And I really do feel bad for my girlies who are single. And it's not that I feel bad. I'm sorry. I don't want to say I feel bad. I empathize for you, and I just feel frustrated for you because truly the guys had the upper hand with all this. And I don't want to be a broken record with this, but until something changes, and I don't know what the feminine nomenon, in the words of Chappell Roan, or the female revolution we need to have to get the power back, but it is fucking crazy. With these apps and the accessibility of just guys being able to swipe through and get as much pussy as they want with no repercussions is really starting to wear. It's really starting to wear on a lot of gals. That's all I'm fucking saying. That is all I am fucking saying. All right, let's see what the next voicemail is. All right, here we go.
Hey, Heather, it's Julie. I'm calling from across the pond in Belgium, an American living overseas, and I just absolutely love your podcast. I listen to it every week on my walks. It makes me laugh. I haven't absolutely not. So there's some weird thing in the culture over here in Belgium where people will used to say excuse me when they're passing by you in a grocery store, in a crowded space. They just keep moving, hoping that you behind you or know that you need to get out of the way. And you don't know how many times I've had an ass graze my ass or some old woman's boobs graze my shoulder because people just refuse to say excuse me and I don't know they're coming. That's just one of my big pet peeves. So, yeah. I mean, if it's a beautiful, handsome man, check, but most of the time it's not. Okay. Anyway, let me hear your thoughts. See you.
I mean, I think we're really touching down on a lot of cultural differences on this podcast. I mean, listen, everybody does it their own way. Everybody does it their own way. That's got to be probably a little bit of a culture shock. I mean, even when you say like, mi scusi in Italian, sometimes if you say it with a certain tone or inflection, it can be as serious as like, I just killed your entire family. I'm so sorry about that. So even then, half the time in Italy, when I think I'm cooking with gas and my Italian's rolling off the tongue, people look at me like I got 8 fucking heads. So you're telling me you're walking down the street and you kind of do one of those where, you go to the left, they go to the left, they go to their right, left, right. You're doing that dodging thing. You don't say, excuse me, or I'm going to go this way. You just headbutt the fucking person and go get a streusel waffle with some chocolate on it. That's all they do in Belgium. They drink beer and they do streusel waffles with chocolate. And I love Belgium. I've been to Brussels. I went to Bruges. Like, I really think Belgium's a cool fucking place. But man, that is interesting. The Finnish don't hug. People from Finland don't really hug. They don't make small talk, which is also a cultural difference. I mean, honey, I'm from the South. I'll make small talk with you about the fucking ferns on the fucking back porch. I will talk to you about your walk with your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ till I turn blue. I'll talk to you about the best place to get a honey-baked ham in the middle of March. I am the queen of small talk. When I go to my nail salon, the guy who runs it, obviously strong Vietnamese community over there, the guy who runs it, he will sit down in the pedicure chair next to me and we'll put on YouTubes, and he speaks pretty decent English, but we'll just go back and forth and bullshit and share YouTube videos together. And don't worry, every time I leave that salon, I make sure it's on the Absolutely Not YouTube page. And he changes it immediately. He's like, I have no fucking idea what this heavyset white woman is saying. I could care less, you know? But, yeah. What was I saying? I don't even know. Yeah. That's wild. And you know, as Americans, we get a bad rap. I want to just say that. We do get a bad rap. Most of the time when you're abroad, we're doing the best we can. We're adventurous. We're trying to try different cultural things, try to be respectful, pay with the right currency, at least learn how to say good morning, bom dia, in Portuguese. Like, we're trying. And I think the rest of the world really likes to make it out like we're all just like uneducated assholes. There are a handful of those people, but they're not. Most of us are doing the best we can. We really are. But sometimes you got to give us a little grace. You know, we're over here just trying not to get fingered at the grocery store because you don't want to say, excuse me. That's stressful. That is very stressful. I'm stressed for you. But remember, at the end of the day, if you're in a new place, if you're abroad and you feel like you're not necessarily meshing with the culture at the moment, you're doing the best you can, just stop your day, leave the office, go sit on a beautiful park bench, get a streusel, get a waffle with some hot fudge dripping on it, and get a nice, gorgeous blonde ale and some sort of giant beer. What do they call them? A Steiner? In one of those giant mugs, and you just sit and have a moment of reflection and gratefulness that you're in a beautiful city with probably free healthcare and the food is pure, the dicks are uncut, and you're living a full experience. So while that is frustrating, let's write down what we're grateful for in Belgium. Look at that beautiful moment. Okay, let's get to the next voicemail.
Hi, Heather. This is your girl calling from Los Angeles, and I have an absolutely yes for you. I just got done with an interview for a job, I'll call it a serious interview for a leadership position in corporate finance.
Oh.
And they asked me a question. If you had to sit next to someone on an airplane for like a 10-hour flight, you can choose two people. Who would you sit next to? They can be living or dead. It can be anybody. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go with my gut. My mom, because I love her.
Yeah.
And my favorite comedian, Heather McMahan, because she makes me giggle. And if the three of us could sit there giggling, giving our unhinged, honest takes on life for 10 hours, it would be amazing. So just wanted to let you know that the joy that you have spread to me via your podcast and stand-up has now made its way into my professional career. And I guess I'll have to call back and let you know if I get the job. But thank you so much. Love you, mean it. Love and light. Bye.
Love and light. You just made my absolute day, girlfriend. One, you're getting this fucking job. Everybody pull over your cars right now, open your kitchen drawer, get out a piece of scratch paper and write down. Wait, what did you say your name at the beginning of this? Hold on. Let me roll it back. Hold on.
Hi, Heather. This is your girl
I think I can't really tell if you said Collie or Kelly. Just put K. Write down K's getting the job. We're manifesting it for you. You're getting the fucking job. Okay? You're getting the job. And I would hope that whoever is interviewing you from the HR department would at least then give me a follow on Instagram or TikTok. So thank you for giving me a new fan to bump the algorithm. What a great question, though. I've never really applied for many jobs in corporate America except when I was trying to get a job as a flight attendant for Delta Airlines, which I need to do a whole episode just about that interview. And I always love that trick question, right? They say, what is something that you need to work on, or what's a negative about yourself? And you always have to say, I would honestly say a struggle that I have in the workplace is that I care too much, right? They always say to spin it, make it a positive. I would have to say that sometimes I'm just so organized that it becomes sometimes a little contentious amongst other people that I work with. And then I have to spend my day helping them get organized because they see how organized I am. I care too much. I work too hard. They always say spin it and make it a positive answer. But to have the question of who would you want your seatmate to be, I'm going to tell you right now, you wouldn't want me to be your seatmate if my ovary fucking explodes. But yet again, in the true nature of who I am as a people pleaser, of course, I was literally fighting for my life and apologizing to everyone, which is something I'm trying to work on right now. Is to not apologize and just to let things happen. And it's okay to be pissed. It's okay to speak your mind. It's okay to disagree and let people know that. I don't have to be fucking nice all the time. It just honestly in my nature is I don't get an energy boost out of fucking fighting. It does nothing for me. It makes me feel shitty. Ooh. So that's my own personal journey. But what a great question. I am so honored. That I would be able to sit with your mother and we could drink ginger ales and crunch on Biscoff cookies and just fucking have the gift of gab. Wow, that was the highlight of my week. I got to be honest with you. I'm seeing Taylor Swift Thursday and I don't give a fuck. I am your hypothetical seatmate while you're trying to get a giant corporate finance gig. Cha-ching, bitch. Who would my seatmate be? I'll tell you who. I know exactly who it would be. I would also have my dad, because he is dead. And I would have Joan Rivers, because she is also dead. But I looked at Joan for a lot of things in my life. She's one of the reasons I got into comedy. And I would love, and my dad loved Joan too, I would love to be able to sit with the two of them, pick Joan's brain about what it's like to be a woman in the business. And I know she's been gone for a while, but I'd love to pick her brain and say, am I doing this right? Do you know this person? Like, give me some suggestions on here. How did you handle this situation? And I would give anything to be able to talk to my dad about business stuff. So this would technically be a business meeting in Premium Select, okay? And Joan would be having a glass of red wine. I would be too. And my dad would either be having a vodka on the rocks or a Diet fucking Coke. And the three of us would be giggling together, talking shop. I mean, it already sucks when you lose somebody, like when you lose a parent, if you're close to them, it already fucking sucks for just, obviously a multitude of reasons. Like I'm just, depressed. I love my dad. He was a great guy. But I'll tell you what, not being able to pick up the phone and ask him, what does this mean? How does that work? Does this feel weird to you? Like I'm really, truly just constantly having to rely on my own gut, which I trust my own instincts. But there are times where I'm like, God damn it. It would be so nice if you weren't fucking dead and I could ask you a tax question. It would be so fruitful if I could call you and ask you, does this seem shady or not? Is this the right amount of money to tip someone on something? My dad was always a very, very generous tipper, and so am I. He and I both, like, he waited tables growing up. I did too. Like, we understand the service industry. But, that is kind of confusing sometimes. You're like, okay, well, what is the proper percentage of tip? for this specific thing that isn't usually a tipped situation. That's why I want to call my dad. Dad, how much do you tip a boat captain? Is it 20%? Is it 40%? This boat for the day is already $6,000, so I'm really going out of the bank for that. Also, am I getting ripped off? You know, I would just like to be able to call a man in my life other than my husband. And not that I don't respect everything that Jeff has to say, but it's also nice, like, we're doing this together. I need somebody who's had a little bit of experience, a couple years on them. I would love to sit on a flight with Joan and my dad and just bullshit. One of my favorite memories of my dad before he passed, we went and saw Joan Rivers at the Alliance Theater. No, Symphony Hall, next to the Alliance in Atlanta. And we have this great photo, and I'm wearing this gorgeous red dress from BCBG, and my sister looks beautiful. My mom looks great. My dad is just beaming from ear to ear because I made everybody go see Joan. And my dad was the only straight guy in the audience. And he was, as soon as Joan came out on stage, he's like, fuck everybody. My dad's hysterically crying, laughing. He laughed so fucking hard that whole night. And then that night he drove my sister and I. We were like, we want to go out. We want to go like party. And he's like, all right, I'll drive you guys down to like, you know, this like sketchy street with bars. My dad had this big Porsche Cayenne, which is the big SUV. And he was driving us down. And he dropped us off. And it was like this funny moment of like being dropped off in a Porsche by your dad after he just went and saw Joan Rivers. And he was just like, y'all have fun. And I remember this moment of just like my sister and I had such a great time. And we went out and we were just like, you know, couldn't have been closer as sisters. And my dad was so happy. And it was just such a beautiful night. And I reference this photo. Oh, why am I getting upset? I didn't expect that to happen. Let me take a sip of my Worcestershire coffee. It was such a happy time in my life. And life is so good and I'm so blessed and I have nothing to complain about, even though I complain on this all the fucking time. But this photo I have framed and it's such a happy day. And it's one of those memories. And Joan passed shortly after. And then my dad passed shortly after. So who would I have as my seatmates? I'd have Kyle McMahan and Joan Rivers. I did not expect for that to take a turn emotionally. Let me get my sunglasses real quick. Hold on. God. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm going to do the rest of this episode in sunglasses because I'm unwell. And I know you're going to see the reflection of the studio lights in the glasses, but did not expect that to turn. I'm revved up. I've also been on an 11-day period. My cycle's all fucked up right now, and I am just dripping from every fucking hole. And I'm about to get on this flight tomorrow that I'm very anxious about. But I did not expect that question to hit the way it did. That's what sucks about grief is it doesn't get easier with time. For me, it feels more finite. Like I just feel things are so solidified. Like it'll be 10 years since my dad died this Christmas. And I just think it's been 10 years since I've hugged him, since I've talked to him, since I've been able to say, can you help me pay my rent? You know? Grief doesn't get easier with time. It just removes you further from that feeling of being with that subject. So I guess it numbs you. I don't know. I think it gets harder with time. And if you just lost somebody, sorry to be a downer. But it does remind you, I'm like, fuck, it's been 10 years since I've smelled my dad's head. Now that sounds weird. That sounds really weird. And if there's any therapy people listening, you're probably like, come on into my office. We need to discuss. But my dad, I ended up being taller than my dad. My dad was like 5'9", 5'10". So when I would wear heels, I would tower over my father. And I'd always give him a kiss. And he had the softest skin. And he'd always smell so good. He'd always smell so good. And that's the thing I remember. Like if I was like, you know, running out. Love you, Dad. And I'd give him a little kiss on the head if he's sitting in his chair or something. And he'd be in a Masters shirt or a sweater, an Atlanta Athletic Club shirt, and his cute khakis or his Pilots Country Club branded, because, he had his own brand, his branded stuff. And I would go to give him a kiss on the forehead, and I miss the very distinct smell of his forehead. This is where I need to get to another voicemail, because I could talk about all the things I miss about my dad and how hard it is, but I would literally start dry heaving with tears. I have my Master's cup. I'd also probably spend the majority of this flight arguing with my father and Joan Rivers about, like, why did y'all have to fucking die, you fuckers? That's the other thing. Just when I think I get sad, it really turns to anger. All right, let's get to the next one. Here we go.
Hey, Heather, I'm going to stay anonymous on this one and hope that the statute of limitations on this story has passed.
Ooh.
So I used to work for our sorority, Delta Gamma headquarters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I took a trip once down to your neck of the woods at Ole Miss and was talking with a longtime volunteer down there, and she said to me about another woman. That woman has done nothing but spread chicken salad on the bread of Delta Gamma, and I have forever wondered since that day what the hell she meant. Is it good? Is it bad? Like, what is that expression? And I just kind of gave this awkward smile, and I didn't know what to do. And you have to know, right? You have to tell me what spreading chicken salad on the bread of an organization means. Please help me. Is this an absolutely not or an absolutely? Thank you. Bye.
Okay, this is why I love being from the South. I love the South so much. Side note, I am performing at the Ford Center on August 29th at Ole Miss. So if you are in Mississippi, please come up. Please come to the show. It's going to be outrageous. We're literally going to go through a walk down memory lane. I'm going to tell old sorority stories. Unhinged shit. I'm going to interview some like frat daddies on campus. Like, it's going to be absolutely out of fucking control. So get your tickets, because as soon as school's back in session, those tickets are going to sell out, hopefully. I actually do not know what spreading the chicken salad on the bread of Delta Gamma means. I'm going to guess it's a negative connotation. Because Southerners, we have a real distinct way of telling you to go fuck yourself while also telling you where to get a honey baked ham. You know what I'm saying? I have never heard, all that girl does is spread chicken salad on the bread of Delta Gamma. I've actually never heard that. I'm guessing she's saying she's a lazy piece of shit and just does the bare minimum. I'm a big chicken salad connoisseur. I personally like it shredded. I don't like it chunked. I like chicken salad that's shredded. I like chicken salad packed into a airtight container that's so dense that if you try and put a Ritz cracker in there, it's fucking crumbling. That's what I like. In fact, when I leave here, I'm going to go to Lucy's Market and get some chicken salad. Anyways, there's something so special about being in the South. You know, I would hear phrases at the DJ house like, Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Grab a bottle and hunker down and pray for daylight. And you're like, what is happening? Is this a reference to the Great Flood of like 1842? I mean, Southerners, we have a very distinct way of just spinning things where you're like, I don't know if that was a compliment, an insult, or if you want to have sex with me. Honey, you can put barbecue sauce where the sun don't shine, but that doesn't mean you didn't pay your taxes. And you're like, what? Huh? Even if you own a Shih Tzu, you can still get a UTI. And you're like, I have no fucking idea what that means. If you go to church on a Thursday, doesn't mean you're saved from smoking cigarettes on a Monday. And you're like, what does any of this mean? 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. You're like, I know what that one means. It's actually the name of a local It's the name of a local jazz band, 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. And you're like, I know that reference. Damn. I'm going to say absolutely yes to this because, again, there is such a sly way of there is such an art form in the South of telling people to literally suck your dick while also somehow bringing in a delicious, delectable food-based item into the subject. All that woman does is put artichoke hearts all over her Cadillac. And you're like, I don't know what that means, but I'm hungry. I will have you know the best chicken salad I've ever had in my entire life is actually from a gas station. It's called James Food Center, which is ironic because it's a Chevron, and it's right off the square in Oxford, Mississippi. And every time I leave Oxford, I will go and get giant pint containers, plastic containers of this chicken salad, and I haven't even hit the Alabama border before I've eaten a whole fucking tub of that. I am so excited to be back in Oxford. We are doing a big tailgate. I'm doing a charity function at our house. We have an Airbnb in Oxford. I'm doing the big show at the Ford Center. We're going to the game. We've got the Moo Moo girls coming. We're launching a new Moo Moo line. Like, there is so much fun shit happening in the next couple weeks. I am so fucking pumped. Listen, I'm honored. I can't believe I'm at any place in my life right now where the school would even ask me to come do a performance. I will tell you right now, though, this is not going to be a conservative show. I mean, we're taking a walk down memory lane, and I know how to do a good job of riding like the fine line, but I am very worried that there's a lot of like older Delta Gamma alumni that are coming down. And I had an alumni come up to me once when I was selling my mom's art at Double Decker, and she said, Heather, we really think you're hysterical, but why so many F-bombs? And I said, respectfully, Miriam, fuck off. And I still feel guilty about that. Miriam, I still had my wristband on from the library sports bar the night before. I was forced to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning running on 1 hour of sleep to help my mom sell her wares because she's too cheap to hire somebody full time. So I was in a bad place. Jeff was sweating and bitching in the corner because he was putting together easels to hang my mom's artwork. I was out there all day. I had no makeup on. I hadn't even had a Chick-fil-A fucking biscuit yet. I had done a show in Memphis the night before. Miriam, I was in a bad place. I'm not a morning gal. And I know that's fucking annoying when people say, I'm not a morning person. I'm really not a fucking morning person. Now, I will always show up to the kitchen with joy and love in my heart. But you gotta at least give me a fermented piece of sourdough with some pistachio cream on it before you start yapping at me. I am a little worried that some of these older alumni are going to come and they're going to say, wow, she really told us about that time she blew a man who was on the spectrum at the decals. Like, I'm going to tell those stories. It's comedy. I don't like when people try and censor me. But my asshole is a touch clenched because I keep getting messages on the motherboard of Delta Gamma. They're like, everybody's coming. Class of 1920's coming. I'm like, this ain't it. I'm excited, but this ain't it. Although I was doing, the first time I went to Oxford and I played the lyric, and the alumni are so great. These older gals were having a party for me beforehand, and they were like, and I said, I was like, hey, just so you know, like, you know, I go there, I tell the jokes. And this one woman goes, oh, Heather, I'm so sick of your generation thinking you invented the blowjob. And I was like, touche, bitch, touche. In the fucking bonds. But listen, sometimes, you know, like the gal on TikTok who says, be very mindful, be very demure. Sometimes you can get away with getting your point across in a cuntier fashion than literally telling somebody to fuck off. Oh, honey, she just spreads the chicken salad across that piece of bread at the Delta Gamma house, which means she's nothing but a bump on a log. Oh, my computer just made a noise. Sorry about that. Sometimes that's a good life lesson. To get your point across, you don't always have to be combative. You don't always have to scream, yell, make yourself crazy. Sometimes the art of an insult is wrapped up in a piece of prosciutto, if you know what I'm saying. Listen, I'm so excited for all the things that we have coming up. We still have some rooms left on the cruise. Get those tickets soon. Get your tickets to the show in Oxford. We are not going to announce the new tour yet, which we're still trying to figure out those dates, but we're not going to announce any big shows until the cruise is totally locked. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, like, hang tight. But I'm so excited to be in Oxford. This isn't the comeback tour. This is a totally different show, new hour, new storytelling, all of it, new jokes, all of it. So if you saw the show down in Jackson, come up because it's going to be a totally different experience. But I am so excited. And if you're going to the Eras tour, let me, bring me my white wine. Bring me a white wine and a fag. That's a cigarette, okay? I'm not saying hateful things on my podcast. Bring me a faggot and a white wine if you see me. Anyways, I love you. I mean it. And remember, be very mindful. Be very demure. Be very cutesy. And believe in yourself because we're all trying to figure this out together. I love you. I mean it. As always, you can call into the hotline 800-213-7503. I will see you on the next episode of the Absolutely Not podcast. Ciao, Bella. Arrivederci.